Hello, my name is Jaden Westcott. I am a student at Southern Connecticut State University in anthropology, and basically my essay just kind of went more in depth past the thesis statement. Just kind of talked about the different nuances that had changed in Gabusi culture. For the most part, I think this would probably be unaffected, which was that young woman, Gammy, was ridiculed for not wanting to marry a man that she had slept with, and she was relentlessly ridiculed the entire time. And so Bruce Noft, who was visiting at the time, basically stepped in. He didn't really step in the fact of like he tried to do anything in like action, but he spoke up, he voiced his opinion, and he asked if he could be alone with Gammy and ask her if he could write a letter to her mother for her, which she declined. And the question is whether or not this is acceptable under Gabusi culture, and I think the short answer is yes, because this is someone that the Gabusi trust and know. He is an experienced anthropologist at this point. I think that he just knows on a human level kind of what his intentions were and what he was doing. And he asked a very simple thing, and the men in the village trusted him to be alone with her. So I think that for Bruce Noft specifically, that it was okay because of who he was. I just kind of added that if it had been if he had done this during his first visit, that it probably would not have been acceptable because he was new. He didn't have the connections he did. Well, probably 6 months, first 6 months of the first visit, because he visited for 2 years. By this time he hadn't seen them in 16 years. It was very close. He had some of the villagers named their children after him. And as long as, he was respectful and people know that he was, kind of acting on his own opinions, living in a Western culture, I think that's acceptable. Who's to say whether or not it would have been acceptable if a man his age had tried to do that from that if he was Gabusi. I really don't know. That is that is something that I wouldn't know the answer to. It might not be, it may be, but in Noft's position, I think it's acceptable within cultures as someone that is from a different culture who is experienced being able to talk to this young woman and explain his opinion. And I just think that it's something that is by his own discretion. He has known them for a very long time, and yeah, I mean, I'm kind of trying not to repeat the same things, but really the men had no objections. There were times where he would run into some teenage kids and they kind of gave him a funny look or had a funny interaction with him. And it was kind of perceived that they did not know him. And perhaps if they had known him and known the situation, they would have found it maybe unusual but more acceptable. And that it was okay in some way, like that he would have been accepted, but they did not know who he was. The people who knew who he was and were experienced and adults allowed him to be with this young woman. And for that reason, I think that what he did was appropriate.